When he awoke, he was lost. He tried to rise, but something held him fast. Something strong and gold. Ali! And it all rushed back in waves of pulsing agony, and he wept as only once before he had. The golden arms curled around him, holding him, as his body jerked and heaved with each racking sob. He clung to Ali, trying to make it. And it helped. Even through the armor, it helped. But he couldn't do it. He reached for the forearm panel to pop the suits. Ali's powerful arms, possessing all the leverage, clamped his arms too tightly. He struggled, but he could not get them free. Ali, I want to die. Is that all? Asked his friend gently. Just die? That's all. And so you came here? I guess so. But you forgot. You can't just die. Why can't I? Ali held him tighter, cradling. Because, despite it all, you are Felix, and must be killed. Again, he slept. When next he awoke, the sobs were much less devastating. His body could no longer support them, perhaps. Soon, they stopped. He lifted his helmet from Ali's golden lap and sat up. Several meters away, the warriors and guard were gathering into small groups, sitting and talking, and obviously waiting. I'm sorry, said Felix. How long was I out? Don't worry about it, Ali said gently. You feel better? Yes. I can't believe I could sleep. I just got up. He indicated the others. Haven't they said anything? Forget them. But the drop? Forget that too. But he stopped, seeing it. He faced his friend. It was all a fake. The drop. All for me. Ali nodded slowly. Mostly, he admitted. This is Banshee, however, and we are carrying probes. Of course, they don't work. They never have. So I understand. Lovely war, this. How'd you do it? You said no one else knew. And they don't. No one here, except Suki, knows. Then, how, Ali? Ali shrugged. The master of the Terra was most cooperative. He gave me a drop of my own. He went along, without even knowing why. I am the Masao. Felix smiled. For some reason, he had always found his friend's astonishing arrogance endearing. He gestured towards the others. And the CO? Oh, much easier. Command voice and all that. Felix winced. He's not a pet, Ali. Oh, really? Then what's he doing here? He laughed, started to say something else. But it came again, without warning, doubling him over, grinding up and out. He wept and wept. He had been sitting and staring at nothing, thinking of nothing. He was numb, exhausted, wrenched flat. And he realized with amazement, relieved. He didn't know exactly what it meant. He didn't want to know, or at least, he didn't feel like examining it. Beside him, sitting patiently and waiting, with his back to all, sat the Masao. Felix smiled. He had his legs G-crossed Buddha fashion. All his life he had known this man. He was closer to him than any other human. Despite the fact that they were from 2 different planets and 2 different cultures, they had managed to stay in touch since infancy. Most of the major events in their lives had been joint ventures. Allie had been best man. But what really, he thought, did they have in common? Only that their recent ancestors had been rich enough and tough enough and egocentric enough to establish favorite monarchies on the 2 richest planets in known space. Even in that respect, the 2 were different. Felix had been but one of 12 candidates for Guardian. The Masao had been the Masao from conception. He had always known it and always loved it that way, whereas Felix... Still, he loved him. In his short life, there had been only the 2 who had touched him. Now 1. He glanced at the time. Damn, 2 hours here. Allie, we've got to get out of here. Call the ship. Suddenly you're in a hurry. I'm not. The ants are. They must have sensed us by now. They'll be coming. Fleet reports say no ants here. It's why I picked it. Felix stared at him. Fleet reports. I thought you'd been keeping track of this war. I see what you mean. Fleet isn't here. Felix laid a glove on his shoulder. Let me tell you something, old friend. Fleet is never here. Call the ship. I can't. Well, I could, of course, but we need to go somewhere else to get picked up. Why is that? Damn it, Felix. This is supposedly a probe placement. They pick us up at the end of the line when we finish planting them. Where? About 10 kilometers, I believe. When? The Masao eyed him with distaste. I think I liked you better in my lap. When, Allie? About 5 hours. Plenty of time. Felix stood up. Let's get started. You trying to scare the Masao? Allie, don't you understand? This is Banshee. Oh, you mean this is Banshee? Felix tried to get angry. He failed. Come on, he urged. Relax, my friend. We'll have you in the Hall of Gold in less than... No. Allie paused. He stood up. You mean you won't go back? Let's talk about it later. We've got to get these people moving. Very well. Allie agreed reluctantly. For now. Suki! They were up and moving in seconds, a steady procession of 2 concentric circles. A good team. Felix only had one suggestion. He thought the probes ought to be left behind now that their purpose had been served. The CO treated the advice like an order. Yes, sir, he replied respectfully, and ordered the probes abandoned on the spot. Felix stared at him. Now that he noticed it, all the others were treating him with equal deference. He caught them glancing his way occasionally, always taking care not to get caught gawking. He accused the Masao. Allie laughed. I swear to you, I told no one. And Suki wouldn't dare. Well, I guess seeing that we knew each other. Allie laughed again. Could be that. Could be your command voice. Buzz off, Allie. You still can't blame them, Allie insisted. Besides, it wasn't their fault the freighter buckled. Felix sighed. It was their fault she was on the freighter in the first place. They had been walking for over an hour. Allie had been on him the whole way. He turned his gaze to the others, marching steadily around them. No one had approached. No one had spoken. Their privacy was respected. Pure Masao, he thought wryly. He realized Allie had been talking. What? He asked. His friend sounded exasperated. I said you can't go on blaming a whole people for a mistake made by a few. Allie, those few didn't just err. They defaulted. You know how long it took me to run away? 3 months. I planned for 3 months, and my bodyguard still almost caught up with me. Angel lost hers, without planning, in 3 minutes. That's a breakdown in commitment. The guards simply didn't care enough about her to do their duty. All right, Allie conceded. Perhaps you're right. No perhaps about it. Okay. You made your point. But you're still blaming the planet for it? Allie, the guards were just indicative. They never accepted Angel. No one ever did. They never gave her a chance. Allie shrugged. She was an Earth woman. Your people resented it. God damn it! My mother was from Earth. So was yours. They never had any trouble. That was a long time ago, partner. They were there from the start. They were very old and very revered. Mine still is. He grinned, looked sideways at his friend. Still beautiful, too? Allie laughed. By imperial decree. I always loved your mother. She loved you. She's missed you. Yes. They were quiet for several steps. Angel left me a note before she left. Did I tell you that? Yes. She said she was afraid she was holding me back. Yes. She didn't know. Even then, she still didn't know how much I... His voice cracked. He fought the churning. Do you want to stop? Allie asked him. No. We can. We've got plenty of time. No, he said firmly. I'll be all right. He looked at Allie through his tears. Maybe I will, he thought.